Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and I am so excited to be celebrating 10 years of meaningful conversations with you. As we step into our new primetime hour, it's such an honor to share this exciting new chapter with you. So whether you're starting your day out, headed to work, or listening from wherever you are, this hour is designed to bring you thoughtful dialogue, fresh insight, and inspiring stories so you can make every moment count. So thank you for being here with me today, and let's dive in. We're here today with special guest Nicole Williams, Executive Director of LISC LA, who's here to share with us building opportunities in Los Angeles. So what does it take to rebuild communities and create real economic opportunity? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. Nicole Williams spearheads the LISC LA office, which has invested nearly $1.6 billion in affordable housing, small businesses, economic development, health, education, community safety, and jobs throughout Los Angeles for over 36 years. Williams' background spans finance, government, and community-focused nonprofits, all of which she will draw on to lead LISC LA. Most recently, she was Senior Vice President and Head of Nonprofit Banking for Banc of California, where she built a line of business focused on nonprofits and community development financial institutions in California. So welcome to the show, Nicole Williams.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation today.
Well, what a great honor it is to have you here and to talk about this. So I'd love for you to share with us. I guess we should start from the basics. So what is LISCLA?
So Local Initiative Support Corporation, which we affectionately call LISC, is the largest intermediary in the country by loan assets. And what I mean by intermediary is that we are a community development financial institution. So we act and feel, well, we feel like a bank in that we lend to borrowers across the country. But different than a bank, we don't take deposits and then lend them out. That capital for us comes from banks and large corporations that want to make investments in underserved communities across the country. So our job is to take in that capital and then figure out the most effective places to put it so that it has impact, so that communities can grow and be more resilient, and so that hopefully those borrowers that have to come to us for lending now become bank ready, as we call it, in the near future. And so in that way, we're advancing communities that are underserved across the country with our lending, and then also with our programming that looks like economic development initiatives, technical support for affordable housing developers. So our range is pretty broad. But our work and our mission is to build resilient communities across the country. And for us in LA County in particular.
So what is the LISC LA Rise and Renew Wildfire Recovery Program, and why is it important?
LISC LA initiated what we call LA Rise and Renew earlier this year. And it's part of our wildfire recovery programs for small businesses across Los Angeles. So when disaster strikes, we often focus on rebuilding homes and infrastructure, but small businesses are really the heartbeat of a community, particularly communities like Altadena and Palisades, which saw incredible devastation during the January 2025 fires. So our work is about rebuilding that aspect of the community because they are the neighborhood restaurants, the childcare providers, the repair shops, those family-owned stores that keep the local economy alive. So through Rise and Renew, LISC LA provides grants, technical assistance, recovery support to really help those small businesses reopen, rebuild, and ultimately what we like to call build back better. That's been our mantra. And so at LISC LA, we believe that in moments of crisis, our responsibility is to stand with small business owners, not just to provide capital, which we do every day, but we also want to provide those tools and guidance that they will need to rebuild their future. So supporting our neighbors through devastating events like wildfires is really at the heart of our mission. And what we're working on at LISC as a national platform is to become what we like to call financial first responders when there's a disaster in any form across the country.
So, I want to touch on another program you have, which is the HDTI training program. Can you share that with us?
Sure. The Housing Development Training Institute, or what we call HDTI, is one of LISC LA's most important workforce programs. It's been in existence for 38 years. And so it is so sort of woven into the fabric of LISC LA, which has been in the LA market for 40 years. And what we came to understand over these nearly 4 decades of this program is that affordable housing doesn't just happen. It really requires skilled professionals who understand financing, development, community engagement, and policy. And they understand it within the niche of affordable housing, not just housing development in general. So HDTI was created to train nonprofit housing developers so they can successfully build and preserve affordable housing in their communities. And so, as I said, this program has been around since the late 80s and has helped to develop hundreds of professionals, not just across the county of LA, but across the country. This is a nationwide program that LISC offers in its various markets. But in California, we are proud to partner with Merit Community Capital to deliver this training statewide. So across LA, also with our Bay Area office, and with San Diego. So ultimately, HDTI is about strengthening the affordable housing ecosystem by equipping the next generation of leaders with the skills that they will need to build the housing that our communities desperately need in Los Angeles.
So, what kind of feedback have you received from this training program?
Oh, wow. The feedback has been phenomenal, mostly in individuals across LA in the nonprofit and community development ecosystem, if you will, that are HDTI alums. We run into them all the time. And the amazing part is that they are always in a leadership position. They're the executive director of a nonprofit. They're leading the housing development team for a specific firm. They sit on our local advisory council. They sit on our national board. And so what we love to see is that seeds were planted with HDTI that then blossom into full careers where folks are leading in the space, in affordable housing, in community development, and making a difference across LA. So the feedback has been really in the lives that people have gone on to live and the impact that they're able to have.
For those that are interested in the training program, how do they qualify?
HDTI releases applications once a year. Right now, there's a cohort that is in process. They're in training right now. And so we won't open another cohort until later in 2026. So keep an eye on the LISC LA website. HDTI is prominently featured there. So keep an eye on that towards the second, third quarter of the year, because applications will be coming out around that time for the next cohort.
So, what opportunities exist for both individuals or organizations who want to support community development efforts, especially in LA?
The opportunities are vast because there's so much happening in Los Angeles. And so you can look down various lanes to determine where to offer support. So it could be in wildfire recovery. That's going to be key and meaningful for the next several years here in Los Angeles. Could look around sort of support around immigration. There's various ways to offer support to communities that have been impacted there and are trying to figure out the next steps forward. We've supported in various ways, not just in LISC LA, but across the country. Various offices have had some impact around immigration and determining how to support communities there. So LA is very unique in that space. And so we ask people to think about what's the best way for their organizations to support. The next thing I would say is around general economic development. The cost of housing and living in Los Angeles continues to rise. And so we want to offer individuals an opportunity to build a life in Los Angeles, a career in Los Angeles where they can see themselves here and they don't feel like they have to move in order to effectuate those things. And so workforce development programs training programs, AI training programs to help people really build a career that can take them into the future has been key for us. And we hope that other individuals and foundations and nonprofits will continue to push in this space because it's so key. So those are the three areas that we're really leaning into right now, with the addition of affordable housing, which is just foundational to our work. So those are our pillars, if you will, at the moment. And we would ask, individuals, foundations, nonprofits to join us in pushing these ideas and these issues forward.
Well, and so I know you touched on it a little bit, but can you share with us some of your initiatives?
There are quite a few. And so I'll touch on a handful that are really, really pertinent right now. And we're really sort of actively working on. So, as I mentioned, our work is pretty broad in that we do lending and we do programming. And so those are the two sort of pillars that we work within. On the lending side, we lend to affordable housing developers and we lend to small business entrepreneurs. Those are our two lanes. We don't lend to individuals, to homeowners, etc. Affordable housing developers and small business entrepreneurs. So that's kind of our base of borrowers, if you will. Then on the programming side, our work is around providing technical assistance to those two bases, if you will, technical assistance to small business owners and technical assistance to affordable housing developers. So a lot of our programming kind of lives in those two lanes. So I'll talk about a couple of them. So one, there is a program that we're working on called LA Rise and Renew. And as you can imagine by the name, it has a lot to do with wildfire recovery in Los Angeles, as we experience just tragic fires across multiple communities in LA on January 7th of 2025. And that went on for 6 or 7 days, and 6 or 7 days created decades of work to do to rebuild those communities. So one of the many programs that we have around wildfire recovery is called LA Rise and Renew. So it's our wildfire recovery program for small businesses across LA County. Around one of our programs is called LISC LA Rise and Renew Wildfire Recovery Program. And that program is about supporting small businesses across LA County. Because what we found is that when disaster strikes, we often focus on rebuilding homes and infrastructure, which is key and super important work to do. But small businesses are the heartbeat of a community. My parents were small business owners, so this is very close to my heart. But the small businesses, if you look around you every day, they're the neighborhood restaurants, the childcare providers, the repair shops in your communities, the family-owned stores that really keep economies alive. So through Rise and Renew, LISC LA provides grants, technical assistance, and recovery support to really help small businesses reopen, rebuild, and we hope build back better. That's been our mantra. How do we build back better in these communities that were impacted by the fires? So think Altadena, Palisades. So we really believe that in these moments of crises, our responsibility is to stand with those small business owners, not just with capital, but with tools and guidance that they're going to need to rebuild their future. Another program that we're having the culminating event on Wednesday, as a matter of fact, is called the Rebuild Lab. And so the Rebuild Lab, again, is about sort of providing support. It's not lending to individuals or to small business entrepreneurs. It's providing guidance to 21 businesses, all from the Altadena area. Most of them have experienced either total or partial loss of their business. And so what we've given them in that program is support around how do you rebrand in this sort of chapter of recovery. If you can't have your brick and mortar store and you are a locksmith, you are an art gallery, you are a childcare services provider, how do you rebrand in this chapter so that you can continue on until you're able to have that, you're able to be a part of the Altadena footprint again in a physical way? How do you maintain the business until then? So rebranding, and then using AI tools. We had a wonderful executive from Microsoft to come and teach the 21 business owners how do they leverage AI to expand their business, to become more efficient. If you've only got 2 people working with you instead of 10, how do you do that, and how do you sort of leverage your efforts? And then lastly, how do you think through about around your own physical and mental well-being during this time? And so we call that whole person care, a term that we're borrowing from our friends at Kaiser, but we're, providing programming that looks like whole person care to small business entrepreneurs that are sort of emerging from the fires in Altadena. And so that work looks very different than our lending work. But that's what I love about being here at LISC LA, is that our range is broad. We're able to do a lot of different things with a team of 12 here in LA. So we're small but mighty, but we have a lot of impact, or at least we hope that we're having a lot of impact across LA County.
So LA has been the least favorable as far as a metropolitan area and in terms of having affordable housing. So how is LISC LA helping?
Yes, absolutely. I think even before the crisis of the fires, LA was already facing an extraordinary affordability crisis in terms of housing. And so, housing stability is a really important part of our work. I talked about the pillars that we lean into, affordable housing being a really, really important part of that. But ultimately, I always think, as a leader, what I want to focus on is economic stability. So we want housing stability, and that's what affordable housing provides. Now, in LA, we've got to get to a level of scale that we've not reached yet. That's really, really important to be able to keep up with the demand for affordable housing. In LA, the supply has not kept up. And so we've got this great chasm between what we have and what we need in terms of housing, period, in LA, but definitely affordable housing. So housing stability is important, and providing that through units of affordable housing is super key. We finance those units, and we've done that for now more than 40 years. But for me, when I think about this work, I think economic stability truly is the holy grail. Because in my mind, housing alone isn't enough if families still can't make the rest of the math work in LA. So true stability means having support. And that support looks like affordable childcare for families who need it, access to reliable transit so you can reach jobs and opportunities and school and all the things that drive a family forward. So a strong neighborhood economy, and a strong neighborhood that's got people that are housed and moving forward. All of that means that there's a strong ecosystem around that. So LISC LA focuses not on just providing affordable housing units through our financing and through our programming that supports affordable housing developers and teaching them about the space. We're also deeply connected to sort of the ecosystem that surrounds the families that need affordable housing. So when a family has stable housing, access to opportunity, that's when they can begin to plan for the future, to build wealth, to create better outcomes for themselves and the next generation of their families. And so that leans into the mission of LISC and LISC LA, which is to build resilient communities. So I think we want to think about ways to tackle that affordability issue in a myriad of ways. You start with housing, because having a roof over your head is one of the most important things, obviously, for all of us. Shelter is a basic need. Once that basic need is met, though, you need sort of the supportive services around you. You need childcare, you need access to transit, all of the things that make our lives work. Well, that's key to those in underserved communities that need our support. And so we try to really think about it and approach it from a holistic perspective. And again, that allows us to sort of activate all of the pillars of our work: lending, programming, affordable housing, economic development. It all sort of works together.
So I understand you have a program called Fueling Emerging Entrepreneurs. Can you share that with us?
Yes, Fueling Emerging Entrepreneurs, or FEE, as we call it in-house. It's one of my favorites. It really celebrates the incredible creativity and innovation that exists across Los Angeles County. I mean, before I was at LISC, or maybe many years before I was at LISC, because I did have a stint at JP Morgan in there for about a decade. But before that, I worked for the mayor of LA. And one of my jobs was to work on what we call the creative economy. And so I think that maybe when people look at Los Angeles and you don't live here, you might think of media, of Hollywood, of sort of more of the media in that space. But LA happens to also be sort of a hub of manufacturing for denim, for furniture, for toys. And so LA is much more of a creative hub than maybe people might think of if you're not embedded here and part of that local economy. And so when I look at FEE, it's an opportunity for us to really tap into the spectrum of creativity in LA. And so the program highlights entrepreneurs who are building businesses in this space. And those founders are creating jobs, they're building community, they're bringing new energy to their neighborhoods. And we offer them, these are micro businesses, by the way, distinct from some of the larger businesses that we work with in other programming. So these are micro businesses, early stage, tons of creativity, tons of energy. And so we give them grants. And then in the last iteration of FEE, not sure what the next will look like, but in the most recent, we brought them together in sort of a award ceremony, if you will, those that won the grant, and there were 8 of them. And we had them sort of pitch their business to us, if you will. And it was amazing. All of the creativity and different industries, and different approaches that all of these entrepreneurs brought. And so we leverage that program really to spotlight them, to help connect them to visibility and resources that they need to grow their businesses. And our hope is that the next step of it is to start to provide them with more capital so that they can grow those businesses and truly be powerful engines of opportunities in their community.
So I know you have so many wonderful programs there. What is Ascend LA?
Ascend LA, and this is great. It's a great next question because it is distinct from FEE in that FEE supports micro business entrepreneurs. Ascend LA more and more is supporting businesses that are a bit more mature. So think, those that are generating revenues of 2 to 5 million. Those are still considered small businesses, particularly in the banking industry. We look at them as larger businesses because our spectrum can go from businesses that are generating $50,000 in annual revenue to those that are generating, 10 or so million in revenue. I would say that that's kind of our range at LISC LA. So these are those that sit kind of right in the center of that, around 2 to 5 million in revenue. And those businesses are seeking opportunities that look like large procurement opportunities with local government, with large corporate. And so our job with LISC LA, which is funded by JP Morgan, our job is to help them access those procurement opportunities and opportunities with corporate buyers as well, and the kind of contrast that can really change the trajectory of a company. So through LISC LA, we bring together nonprofit leaders, education providers, and corporate partners to help those businesses prepare for and compete for those opportunities. And increasingly, I would say that work is connected to the major sporting events coming to LA. And of course, people think of the Olympics in 2028. But ahead of that, we've got FIFA World Cup coming in 2026, so this year. We've got the Super Bowl coming again in 2027. And then you've got the Olympics in 2028. So more and more, because of the sporting assets that Los Angeles and the surrounding cities and communities have, I think this type of activity will continue on in LA. So we're leveraging Ascend to prepare businesses for these immediate opportunities, but our expectation is that this will go on and on. And so we want them just to stay ready for opportunity in LA. And so that's what Ascend is all about. It's taking sort of more mature small businesses, if you will, and preparing them for procurement opportunities. And we've had tremendous success. This program is about 4 years old, I would say. And in that span of time, we've secured $70 million in contract opportunities for businesses. So that really can be life-changing in terms of helping businesses sort of advance themselves as individual business owners, advance their communities and their families. And ultimately, it gets back to our mission of building resilient communities in Los Angeles.
Can you share with us the HDTI training program?
I can. And so this is one of our most storied programs. This program, has been around since 1988. We've helped hundreds of professionals across LA County enter the affordable housing ecosystem. And so what the Housing Development Training Institute, or HDTI, what it does as a workforce program is it trains young professionals to go into the nonprofit development space, which is niche, by the way. So professionals in the affordable housing space have a different lens when they're thinking about housing, when they're thinking about financing, development, community engagement, policy, etc. It's a very niche space in the development community. And so HDTI takes those that are maybe 2 to 3 years into their careers, into their development careers, and then gives them a deep dive into nonprofit affordable housing development and what that world looks like. And so we take a deep dive into Excel spreadsheets, into how to advocate for specific policy, how to build your community in that space, because you really do need your colleagues. And so we've got HDTI alums who come to us and say, oh, I was an HDTI alum 20 years ago. I'd love to help you and support you on building your alumni group. Can I be supportive in that space? Absolutely. We've got HDTI alums on our local advisory council. I just spoke to one of my counterparts who's an executive director of a local nonprofit. He's an HDTI alum. So what I'm finding as I sit longer and longer in this seat is that we've kind of peppered LA County with HDTI alums. And so we've got friends all over the place that have gone through this programming and have found their way either in sort of community development in general or affordable housing specifically to advance the LA community.
My goodness, Nicole, you have so many great things happening there. If someone wants to apply for assistance or get in touch with you to see what other things LISC LA does, where should they go?
They should go to the LISC LA website. There is a contact link there. That link lands directly in our office. We have someone on staff that checks that once a week. And so we are actively seeking to support those who reach out to us directly. So please feel free to do that, to go to the LISC LA website, go to the contact link, and that should lead you to an email address that will land directly with us, and someone on our team will circle back to you.
Well, that's good information to know. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you for having me and for giving me the opportunity to talk about LISC LA and the great work we've done in Los Angeles County, and we hope to continue to do in the years and decades to come.
Well, thank you, Nicole. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about LISC LA. Make sure to visit their website at liscla.org/Los Angeles. There you can learn about all their programs, learn how to apply, and of course, be part of their community. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Mary Ann, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Mary Ann is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Mary Ann will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmaryann.com for more information.